Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci fi show where things can get totally radical. I just realized I had my hat on the other way. Now, today I will be bringing back my good friend Tiffany Helm, who I've had on in the past talking about her movie career. Today we're going to talk about a wide variety of topics. And I haven't talked to her in a while, so it's going to be a really good episode. I do want to announce, though, I got new glasses, in case you haven't seen. Yeah, I got tired of wearing those blue sunglasses. They made me look like Minnie Mouse, you know. So I'm wearing a blue shirt instead today. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking to Tiffany Helm, because I haven't talked to her in a while, and it's going to be pretty cool. Tiffany's a lot of fun. She's really chill. And yeah, so here's my new interview with Tiffany Helm. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Uh, just trying to figure out what color I'm going to paint my toenails for this weekend.
Nice. How about coral?
Coral, maybe. And I'm going to a Comic Con. I kind of want to blend in a little bit.
Blend in? Are
Yeah,
your toes are going to be showing?
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, what are you wearing?
I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out.
But you know that your toes are showing?
Yeah, because I've been going to Comic Cons all month, and I've been wearing shoes and socks, and just like my feet have been hella sore. Like at the end of the day, with all the walking I do.
Well, then in that case, I'd put a different color on each toenail.
Oh, accent nails. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. It's a pain. I mean, you're going to have to, if you don't already own a bunch of different nail polish, and you got to buy a bunch of different colors, but it'd be a standout.
True, true. What color do you have?
What color do I have? I don't paint them very much. I have like a blue and a purple and a dark red. Um, I think a couple shades of different blue. That's
Nice,
about it.
nice, nice. I love that meme you posted last week. SeaWorld is banning plastic straws. Now they have to ban animals.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the definition of irony. They're banning plastic straws to save the ocean, but they're not willing to do anything about the inhabitants of the ocean.
Hmm. I know. My thoughts on this are like, you know what they should do if the animals at SeaWorld are getting abused, they should put them back in nature, and if they want to entertain the kids, they should like build mechanical waterproof animals and do like a Disneyland type of thing, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, wouldn't that be good?
Well, it's also been said that, like thinking that kids can learn about animals from visiting zoos when they know more about dinosaurs from books, right? It's
Right.
like seeing an animal in a zoo is not a way to learn about an animal. So, yeah. Anyway, don't get me all aggro.
Oh, listen to any good punk music lately?
Have I what?
Have you listened to any good punk music lately?
Punk music? No, I'm not listening to punk music. What have I been listening to? Um, who have I really been liking lately? I don't know. I've actually been learning the banjo, so I've been working on a lot of bluegrass stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I have an eclectic mix um, that I've been listening to with everything from uh, the Dead South to Bauhaus to Arcade Fire to Bonnie Raitt and John Prine. It's very all over the place.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, bluegrass. I actually did hear something interesting the other day. It's Gangsta Grass.
Mm-hmm.
It's and this one band was able to pull it off, where they're mixing bluegrass and rap.
Right.
And they did it these guys did it, they did it really well. I mean, I think it's a little bit like reggae. Like, if I listened to it for like 2 hours, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. But it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And a friend of mine turned me on to Devotchka, who's been around for a while, Colorado band that I hadn't heard of before. They're pretty interesting. One of their songs, the woman is actually playing the bass line with a tuba.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of special.
Yeah, I've always been a rock guy, but lately, like later on in life, I've been appreciating like all sorts of music.
Yeah, there's so much out there, and people who are stuck in one decade or the other saying there's nothing good anymore, just haven't looked hard enough. There's so much good alternative stuff and indie stuff, and it's out there. You just gotta get off at the pop stations, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, oh, because you know a lot of top 40 music nowadays is just so over commercialized. They just think it's not fun to listen to anymore. You know.
Yeah, well, they're not looking in the right place, because there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of bands that aren't getting heard that should be. So you just gotta, go to local shows, listen to like up and coming stuff. If you got Sirius, cruise some of the stranger channels. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on the music scene right now. But I mean, we're in Alberta, and it's coming from Seattle. It's a bit of a letdown. This is kind of a cultural void here.
Is it just as bad over there as it is over here?
Where's over here?
In California?
California's got good music. Whereabouts in California are you at?
Oh, Redding.
Well, you got to be. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of stuff going on. No, California's nothing like Alberta.
Yeah.
Alberta is, well, particularly the area we're in. It's beautiful. There's some lots of outdoor stuff to do, but as far as like music and art, it's not happening here.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, over here in Redding, yeah, it's mostly like country music and stuff. I was saying to my mom, the other day, out in the Bay Area where we're from, we used to go to the county fair a lot and listen to all these classic rock bands and stuff. Over here, they have fairs, but it's all country music, and to us, it's just really boring.
Yeah, I would have thought Reading would have become, because I know when I was in LA, I actually had a couple friends that lived out in Reading, and I would have thought by now it would have kind of merged with anything SoCal, anything near Los Angeles, right? It just seems to keep spreading and spreading.
Yeah.
But I guess not. You gotta get creative or take a trip into the city to hear some good music.
Yeah. We got a couple of good venues over here. We got this nice little theater over here, and like lots of big names play here occasionally. Like we had Weird Al here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really strange time and stuff. Since the last time we talked, there's been a crazy, cultural slide and everything with the Me Too movement and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any Me Too stories?
Any Me Too stories?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, any woman, every and any woman has it. Any.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it I won't really share. But, just that one that I had posted about, which was really, it was at the end of a very long shift at when I was working retail,
Mm-hmm.
and I was it was late at night, and I was going down the escalator. I was so tired going to my car, and there were some boys coming up the other way. But when I say boys, these were like extremely large, like teenagers, much bigger than me, probably 4 or 5 of them. And as I was going down, one of them reached over and grabbed my ass as I was going down the escalator. I thought that was really funny. And I really was done at that point. I was so pissed off. So I vaulted over the escalator so that I was in the up direction, and I was like, "You motherfuckers!" And I started charging after them. And they were so freaked out. They started running from me. And, I realized as I was chasing them that, I was about 95 pounds at the time, and these guys were big. They looked like they were probably on the football team at their high school or something.
Yeah, like me.
And I was like, so the thought, kind of this voice in the back of my head was like, what are you going to do when you catch them? And I didn't really need to ponder that too much because they kind of split. I mean, they were totally scared. They're like, oh my God, crazy white woman coming after us. And they split, and I never caught them. But I was so mad. I was like, I am done with this shit.
Wow.
So, yeah, but I mean, I've been fortunate in the industry. There's nothing come up that I haven't been able to handle, and
Yeah.
it is what it is, and I don't. I'm glad that it has come out against certain people. I think that it's, I don't know. I think some people have been accused of stuff that isn't necessarily accurate or has been blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of shocked with the whole Louis C.K. thing because it's, I don't know, you listen to one of his routines for a few minutes and I even blush listening to his routine. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, oh my God, he didn't just say that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he really pushes it. So when there's a story about him masturbating or whatever the story was, I'm like, really? Is anybody shocked at that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It seemed, when he was gracious with the accusations and stepped down and admitted guilt or whatever, but some of them I don't, like the Al Franken thing. There's some that I'm not like 100% like rah, go team woman.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem with stuff like that is it cheapens the message for the people who've really, really suffered at the hands of somebody else, and people who have really, really used their power to exploit others or for their own gains.
Yeah.
So, I kind of have mixed feelings about the whole thing. I mean, I'm glad it came out, but it seemed like every day there was something, and I'm not 100% sure that they were all 100% accurate,
Yeah.
So, and if you cheapen the message too, it makes, it's just bad for the cause, because then you get the entitled people who are like, well, she's just saying that, and blah, 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 and it can be very damaging. But absolutely, speak up. If something's happening, people should speak up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on all of that. And I've actually joked about the Louis C.K. thing on stage. There are women who came forward who said that they were mostly female comics who said they didn't mind him masturbating in front of them because they know he's a great guy with a few quirks. But my only question is, if that's so, then why didn't he offer them popcorn? I mean...
Yeah, well, and I didn't hear all of the allegations. I kind of get to a tipping point where I'm not, I don't, that was his thing, like he masturbated in front of women, like regularly. I don't know. So, but again, listening to his material, it's not really shocking. Is it?
No, not really.
He says some really freaking over the top stuff. Again, stuff that makes me uncomfortable. But I still, admire him as an artist. And the thing that bums me the most about it is that what's her name? They had the show Better Things that he produced.
Yeah.
A great show. And shoot, I can't. Her name is not coming to me. But she was like best friends with him. She was the star. And the show was, it got great critical acclaim and great reviews, and it was going on for another season, and she's kind of shelved the whole project because she's still kind of like in shock with what happened with her best friend, and obviously he's no longer part of the project. But it was a great show. Mm-hmm. So there's the plug for Better Things. But he was the producer of it. So.
Yeah.
Not Stranger Things, Better Things.
Yeah, Better Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bizarre situation. I used to have a girlfriend who used to want me to masturbate in front of her, and she would always have this like smile on her face that reminded me of the Grinch.
Okay.
Yeah. Her and I, we reconnected on Facebook a couple of years ago, and I told her that, and she's like, I know. I'm so sorry for that. I was smoking a lot of weed in those days. And I'm like, I know, I was smoking it with you.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the Al Franken thing, it's like I worked with Al and Tom when I was quite young, and it was actually, there is a little bit of irony there too, because it was for the improv comedy show. And the joke was because when I was in my 20s, I looked like I was about 15.
Yeah.
And I had to do this thing where I was supposedly Tom Davis's date, and we were getting out of like a chauffeur, and the joke was that I looked like a teenager. I looked like a kid, and it was supposed to be very funny. But so in one aspect, that's kind of being exploitative towards women in the idea of the joke, but both men were total gentlemen to me. They never, and they were super cool. I really enjoyed hanging out with them, and I talked with Tom a little bit over the next couple years, like when I go to New York, I never saw them again, but it's like they were very encouraging because I was just starting out my career, and nobody ever made a pass at me. Nobody ever said anything inappropriate. So I have nothing but good things to say about both Tom and Al. And I know Al was the one that was under fire, but
Yeah.
So.
That's great. That's great, though. Yeah, they're comedy geniuses, and that's great to hear about that. I have a Me Too experience to share. About 4 years ago, I was homeless for a while, and I had to stay in this. It was kind of like a halfway house, and about a month in, I was there for 3 months, but about a month in, there was this attendant that was working there. There was like 2 or 3 attendants and like 5 people in there overall, and this one attendant, her and I got off on the wrong foot. And she was always just being very nosy and intrusive and stuff. And I had to give her my cell phone number because I was working swing shift as a security guard from 4 to midnight. And they locked the door at a certain time, and I had to let her know when I was coming home. And there was this one particular night where I was at work, and she texted me, what time are you coming home? And she knew damn well what time I was coming home, by 1 a.m. And after, like, I came down hard on her, she got all apologetic and stuff. She's like, I'm sorry if I've been a bitch to you for the last month and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, if you can admit that, then I'm cool. So I get home that night and I go to bed, and around 7:30 I was always the last one to leave the house. Everyone always left before me by like 7. I always left by like quarter to 8 or something. But like 7, 7:30, I'm in bed sleeping, and I wake up, and I thought I was dreaming this. She was making out with me, like while I was, sleeping.
Ew.
Yeah. And she was like, just tickling my cheeks and just pinching my nose and stuff and just saying
Ew.
all this stuff to me. Yeah. And it was really scary. And I mean, she wasn't a bad looking girl or anything, but I wasn't interested. So I stayed at a friend's house for a couple of days. And then, thank God this happened. I found out that I was going to be moving the following week, right? So Um, happened a couple more times before I left and everything. I wake up the next day and I start packing and everything. And like I told you, I was always the last one to leave. But everybody that was there was still there. And I had this really creepy, weird vibe, right? And before my mother got there to pick me up and everything, the guy who ran the place confronted me. He was like, "I heard you been making her uncomfortable and stuff." And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. I'm sleeping in my bed. I wake up to her making out with me, and I'm the creep." And then he's like, "Wait a minute, is that true?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of weird things about her in this place and stuff, but I didn't know if it was true or not." And apparently, what happened was those other people who were still there and stuff. I guess they were just like waiting around to see if I was going to like sexually assault her or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird fucking thing. So I got the hell out of there. Never went back. Not that I would ever want to go back, but like I just got the fuck out of there, and that was that. It was a creepy experience.
It sounds it.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever had and stuff. I mean, being born and raised in San Francisco, I get hit on by lots of gay guys, but that never bothered me.
Right. Well, there's a difference between just like, I mean, getting hit on and somebody using their power to try and get control over you.
Right.
There's, I mean, it's, um, there's a difference between, um, someone just looking at you a suggestive way, which is intrusive. Like my thing that I always hated when I worked in a mall was I would read books on my break, and there was always some jackass who would come and sit next to me and think that whatever he had to say was more important than what I was reading. Like, would you go up to a woman and interrupt her when she's reading a book?
I probably did that when I was in like my teens or my 20s, but I would never do it again. No.
Yeah, it's like someone's like engaged in something. I mean, unless you know them, unless you have like something really important to say, it's like you leave them alone. So, I mean, that's intrusive, but it's not, again, it's not like sexual assault or something. I guess my biggest one was when I was 15 years old and was on a hot moped that I didn't know was hot, and was pulled over by Beverly Hills Police Department, and I was strip searched at 15 years old. Oh. And, what I know now, I mean, it's like, if it was now, there would have been a lawsuit, right? Like, you can't strip search minors, particularly for some offense like being on a hot moped, right?
Yeah.
But we never pursued anything like that. So that's entirely different than interrupting somebody while they're reading a book. They're the different levels of it. And I think that those need to have clear definitions between them, because people have a tendency to confuse them. There's a big difference, right? Like one can fuck you up for life.
Yeah.
The other one is just, it's annoying, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, it sounds like a very bad experience that you had. in the house, and it's even worse when people don't believe you. That's the worst, when you're not getting any support in what's happened to you.
Yeah, I was very lucky in that situation, the way it turned out, though. That was towards the end of my drinking days, and that was just a crazy time. I look back on it; it's only been 4 years, and I think, God, how did I get myself in these situations, and how did I get myself out? Because I should be either been arrested or dead by now, you know.
Right. Yep. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty wild in my 20s and stuff, and that my accident I had 3 years ago changed me. I just been focusing on showbiz and just making sure that I don't make those mistakes again, and I know I won't because I'm a much stronger person now.
Right.
You know, the
Well,
crazy
good. That's how we grow, right?
Exactly.
We've got similar stories. The 20s were a little crazy. A little bit of the 30s too. 40s you start taming it down, or you don't. A lot of people just keep on keeping on, and they don't usually go out gently.
Yeah. Last time you were on, you mentioned that you had auditioned for something. Did you get it?
Well, I worked on 2 films last summer. I worked on 2 horror movies. One is Red Letter Day,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is Come True. And they're both little indie films,
Right.
both Canadian, and very excited about them coming out. One of them, I play a creepy old lady, and the other, I play like a kind of wacky church lady.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to work on those 2. I mean, there's not a whole lot of work here, but I was really super happy to be back on a set and be working on these 2 films. Both of them are great scripts.
Right.
Both of the directors were awesome, and the cast and crew were super. Just tremendous experiences for me. So hopefully, I don't know what those will be coming out in. They're not going to be like major releases. Like I said, they're both little indie films, so they'll probably be making the rounds at festivals and such.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I just did the Calgary Horror Con here, and some of the crew, and I missed the director. He came out the day that I wasn't there, but some of the crew was out there, so they're all part of the horror scene here in Calgary. So it was very cool.
Nice. Now
Yeah.
because you haven't acted in a while, was it like getting back on the bicycle and trying again?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it's like I haven't worked since everything went digital, so I was a little concerned that there would be something different on the set, but it's still the same. They still use the same words. It's the same format, just like not so much equipment out there. And it's, I mean, on one of them there was a bunch of rewrites the night before.
Right.
To kind of extend the character, and I wasn't quite ready for all the rewrites. So, like, learning lines is definitely a skill,
Right.
and the more you do it and practice it, the better your memory gets at it. But if you haven't done it in a while, it's harder to retain everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for the master shot, I was dropping lines and stuff. I was like, oh no. But then I guess all was good and figured it out. We got everything for all the other shots, and it was all good. And I was appreciative for the extra lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I did theater in high school, I had trouble all the time memorizing lines, and then by senior year, I took drama again, and it was a lot easier for me.
Yeah, like my mom doing soap operas. I mean, they have to learn so much dialogue
Yeah.
every night, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have the teleprompters, but you don't want to be really relying on those. And it's the longer you do it, you're able to memorize like pages and pages of dialogue overnight. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've had lots of actors on here who done soap operas, and they say, God, it's the hardest job in the world.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough gig, for sure.
And you would think by now that they would figure out a different way to do it, with the advancement of technology and like cameras and stuff. You know.
Well, it's done now. It's done how it's done for a reason. I mean, it's like the shooting schedules are so fast. Um, they I don't think there's any other way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get good at memorizing.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy. Speaking of your mom, I know she just did an interview with Greg on Python's Paradise. Do you think she would be down to do an interview with me?
I don't know. I can shoot her an email and find out. I don't know what her schedule's like these days, but I can ask her.
Oh yeah, that would be great. That would be super awesome.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard back from me in like a week, just give me a little nudge on Facebook, and I'll message her.
That would be great. That would be great. And I promise I won't tell her any stories. In fact, I'll cut out the story that I just told you.
Yeah, I know she wouldn't appreciate that. But yeah, I'll see what her schedule is like.
Awesome. Do you have any upcoming convention appearances or anything you want to plug?
No, like I said, I just did a one-day stint at the Calgary Horror Con. We have these awesome limited edition prints that Nat Jones, who's a local artist, did. They're really cool, and I put them on my Facebook page, not my personal one, my fan page, so people could see. So I was there. He was there. But nothing yet. There's talk of maybe one in Texas in September, but I don't know. There's nothing definite yet.
What's the craziest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign?
Craziest thing a fan has ever asked me to sign. I don't know about crazy. Like I get a few that bring in the Pseudo Echo records, and it's not crazy. It's unusual, and they're hard to find. So I'm impressed when someone brings me one of those. But it's pretty much the general stuff, masks, machetes, books, pictures. I don't think anything really that unusual has been asked.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, went to one of my most favorite musicians in the world many, many years ago when my first kid was like a little tiny, tiny baby. Mm-hmm. My favorite artist was signing his new discs at a record store. And we went to it, and I didn't even think to bring anything to sign, but I bought the CD and waited in line, and I had done her little onesie, my baby's onesie, and I put like the band symbol on the front. It was for Bauhaus. And it was Peter Murphy that was signing. And when I got up there and he signed, I was like, in a burst of inspiration, I'm like, will you sign my baby? And I turned her around, because there's the whole onesie. And he was like, I've never been asked to sign a baby. And he signed the onesie. And she was kind of giggling. He was like, oh, it must tickle her. And so it was very cool. I still have that onesie with Peter Murphy's signature on it. So that was a big deal. So I can get creative with asking for signatures.
Yeah. I was at HorrorCon in Sacramento this weekend. I got all my posters I brought from home signed and stuff. I got a couple 8x10s. It was pretty cool. I mean, it wore me out by the end of the day because the place was crowded. But it was a lot of fun, though. The most common answer I get, though, whenever I ask people what's the craziest thing that fans ask them to sign, it's usually the person's face.
Yeah, I've never been asked to sign anyone's face.
Yeah, they usually say it's that or, any body part for that matter, but like the face, though, they just like, it's like, why would you want your face to be signed? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, for multiple reasons, right?
Right.
It's not going to last, but it's going to be there for a while.
Yep. Going to be there for a while, especially with a permanent marker.
Yeah.
Well, Tiff, I've enjoyed this so much. I think we should do an episode like this every once in a while. Talk really deep and insightful, you know.
Was it deep and inside?
For us, yes.
All right. Well, the better I get to know you, I guess the more shall be revealed, right?
Right.
But I will, like I said, yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for inviting me back. Glad we were able to finally connect. And I will text my mom and see if she is up for it. What's the name of your show?
Splat from the Past.
Okay. Will you send me that in a Facebook message?
Absolutely.
So I can send the info to her. She can check it out for herself.
Yeah, I sure will.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
You have a great day, and
yeah, you too.
Enjoy. What was it? Mountain time over there.
It's Mountain time. Yeah, you're Pacific time.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then over in New York is Eastern time.
No, yeah.
You got all that?
I don't know. All these time zones are fucking confusing to me.
Well, just look at the map and see they go in a sequence.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, generally, if I'm talking about when I'm going to be home, I'm going to be thinking about my time and not your time.
Cool.
All right. Well, Tommy, you have yourself a great day.
You too.
Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Tiffany Helm. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Tiffany. That was a really fun conversation, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope I get to talk to your mother, Brooke Bundy, from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, and so many other great movies. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.